click, and we're gonna solve all the world problems.
All right, let's
Podcast
do
is
it.
on, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Omar Asamism, or whatever I'm gonna call this. And today I'm with someone who I wanted to talk to for a week or two. I am with Ashley from the United States of America and from the middle of the storm of the political divide, because Ashley is from, I forgot even the name of the university right now. But what was it called?
I'm act- 2012, I graduated from Evergreen State University.
Evergreen.
College.
Sorry, I was gonna say Evergreen. I clicked on Berkeley in my head for some reason. I don't know why.
I don't know if I'm that smart.
So Ashley, just in broad points, what the hell is about this political divide that got so extreme over the last 2 years, and what have you been seeing in those 2 years specifically from your friends, from in college, anything like? What do you think exactly is what started it all? Is it social media? Is it the internet? Is it name calling? Is it character assassination? What? I'm just gonna leave you talk broadly about it.
Oh gosh, okay, it's a very large subject. So yeah, I graduated from Evergreen State College in 2012, and I'm still connected with a lot of my friends there. However, I would say I've seen this kind of extreme political divide, especially regarding what I refer to as regressive left, but other people have different definitions. I would regard the regressive left as people on the left who, despite having liberal values and more left-wing political views, will still ally with people on the far right,
Like
especially
conservatives?
yes, especially people.
Do they call them conservatives? They can call them conservatives, right?
Yeah,
They just call them-
I would call Islamists right-wing, and I see them in a lot of the same way, except a different religion. So it's very complex, and mostly I've just seen it online.
So that's one point I was gonna ask.
Yeah.
I thought for a second that maybe all of this is just online, it's just Twitter, and meanwhile in the United States everything is fine, nobody's fighting each other, everything is cool. Trump supporters and social justice warriors and all this are hugging in the street. It's just Twitter, and my bad. Please tell me that's true, or at least somewhat true. Like, is Twitter amplifying the divide or the hate more than it really is?
Well, it is going on in real life in the last year,
Oh,
especially since the Trump election, I would say. Even in my hometown, which is a fairly moderate suburb outside of Portland, Oregon, we have had Patriot Prayers rallies, which are pretty far right. And we just had one a couple days ago that actually resulted in someone attempting to drive their car through a bunch of counter-protesters.
Jesus, that happened there too? I didn't even know about it.
Small, nobody was hurt.
Yeah, but that
jump
to violence is new. I mean,
yes.
Even Bush era, Obama era, there was like Tea Party guys swearing at some Occupy Wall Street guys, and it was still aggressive. But there's a new thing, a jump to violence that makes all this political divide way more dangerous than had ever been before. Because once there is violence, people getting hurt, people might die. Like, forget the whole thing. Where is law enforcement? Where is the police? Where is everything? Just stop protesting. Forget about the free speech thing. That people are gonna die. Like, that jump is new. That jump. Who started it? What the hell happened last year? Is it? Tell me. When did you see?
I don't have the answers. I'm no expert.
Yeah. I know. I'm just amazed at, like, I've seen sectarian violence because people from different religions all my life, but the violence because different political opinions is somewhat even insane and more ridiculous in my opinion, because whenever there's a, like, I mean, a Trump supporter and someone on the left have more common with each other than me and my next door neighbor.
Right. I
You know
hadn't
what I
considered
mean? Like,
that, but
and
yeah.
and and, and me and my next door neighbor worked on the elevator to fix it for the whole building like a month ago. We had to because it's our own building. Like, but if he knew I was an idiot, he would kill me. Like, even this whole um, uh, split. Like, I even saw something like. When and that's what made me look at it in a different way. When liberals want Trump to fail and when conservatives wanted Obama to fail, like wanting someone to fail in any plan is not a patriotic thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, wait a minute, you want his plan, whatever it is, to fail and for it to be worse for all Americans just to prove your point he's a terrible president whenever side you're on? What kind of logic is that?
Well,
It's
yeah, I
yeah.
definitely agree with that overall. I think that wanting certain plans to fail, such as, deporting people, um, or what, has been called the Muslim ban in the United States, you could say you want those plans to fail, but you don't want the economy to fail. You don't
Exactly.
want
Yeah. At least.
the
Okay. I
political
wanna.
system
I
to fail.
wanna. I can imagine liberal thinking. I want the I wanna resist the Muslim ban. But
Mhm.
when someone on the left is saying like, I want the economy to be bad or jobs to be worse to prove like Trump is not working right. Like, we're not. We're gonna resist. Nothing is gonna work. That is what's weird. And so
Yeah.
I'm gonna yeah, like, you called it regressive left, maybe alt left, maybe anything, and there's a lot of names about it. And
Mhm.
some people, of course, just broad term brush call it liberals, call it
Mhm.
Democrats, which even I've seen in my friends over here. Like, whenever they see the weird alliance with Islam, extreme identity politics, or soft bigotry, low expectations, they call these people liberals. And I know, of course, not all liberals, like hashtag not all liberals,
Yeah.
but it's always viewed as the Democrats are the liberals, the Republicans are conservatives, and that's the main like point to anyone outside America looking at America.
Right.
Um, and of course, that's weird because most of us are like on the political spectrum on social issues center left. Like, we're liberals too. Even
Yeah.
my friends who hate liberals. Like, these, of course, because the fight here is not really between liberal conservative value, it's between secularists and religious Islamists. Because that's
Mhm.
why they're always called secularists. And in America, there is no such thing basically as secularists. Like, separation of church and state already done, so it's we move to other stuff.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So, and one of the reasons I'm like wanting to communicate and starting this because I've seen so many possibilities of allies from people here and the
Yeah.
Americas left getting ruined because people here and even me have been not really pushed towards the right wing, but they're more of an anti-left more than a right wing. Like, people didn't yeah, like people here if don't want Hillary Clinton to win. If Hillary Clinton was running against Wabba Labba Dub Dub, they want Wabba Labba Dub Dub to win. Like, they did. This is not has nothing to do with either Trump or right wing politics or anything. You know, it's just the Obama administration's foreign policy on the Middle East and its continuation with Hillary. Hillary is even more hawkish than Obama. Blah 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 blah. So they oppose something they don't like on the left. And whenever someone does that, even I've seen it in the States, he's thrown directly. You have joined the ranks of the alt right.
Mhm.
That's weird. People supposed to criticize, and even better, to criticize your own party, your own
Yeah.
team, to make it better so that you wouldn't be associated one day with a team that has gone too far off the deep end down identity politics. You want to stop it for you to even stay a liberal. A liberal should be worried about the Democratic Party as criticism more than him worrying about criticism from the left. So tell me, if people like criticize their own party, criticize their own views, like
Mhm.
second guess themselves, or it's just locked in mental block.
Gosh. Okay. So I'm gonna try to start at
I
the
said a
beginning.
lot of
So
shit. Sorry.
yeah, no, no, no. I'll try and start at the beginning. So my understanding of the word liberal has kind of changed. And I feel that depending your political background, you have a different definition of liberal. So in America, when they say liberals, people who go, "Ugh, liberals are either going to be conservative or far left, and not consider liberalism to be liberal values. And, you know, like free speech, freedom of religion, that sort of thing, which I consider liberal values.
From what we've seen from the last 2 weeks, the people for free speech are coming from the right, like conservatives for free speech, which is insane, but keep on.
Yeah, no. Sorry. It's very confusing. So as I was saying, there are a lot of different definitions of it. So there's what I consider the general liberal values, which I just mentioned. And then there are people who are on the left, so economically and socially left, which I would consider myself more of like a social democrat. So not super center, but not super left either. But of course that's different in America, where it seems the political spectrum is even getting more divided. When I was younger and in college, and even in high school, all my political beliefs were, this was the Bush administration, early Obama administration. My beliefs as what I would consider center left in Europe or social democrat were considered far left here. And now those beliefs economically and socially are considered more center left now. So I find myself very confused.
I was going to say this because that Europe's left was way more left than America's left 10 years ago. Now America's left is going communist. Like America's left is going like, holy shit, like what the hell? And it's always a tug war, like a push between everyone having a certain position, so they're gonna be to the left of that guy to stay on the progressive message or something. Like people keep pushing each other to the point to stay away from the center, because the center is not that sexy. You know what I mean? Like the center is not bringing people. Like here is something else I've noticed, and sorry for jumping around, but
no.
If you're gonna like call on for a protest or make a YouTube video or rally people around, you get more people by outrage, not by like logical decision. Maybe these guys have a point too. These guys have a point too. Like that wouldn't make this. There's a tendency and a positive reinforcement to outrage culture. Like, what the hell is this guy? We're so anti this guy. And either a sad fact about human nature and reality, or it's targeted establishment or media campaigns to wild up feelings more than facts. And nobody's even sitting around, and this center is not sexy thing is I think is another problem. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, I've definitely seen that too, and I don't think that's just recently with a strong appeal to
always there. Like liberals are baby killers, death panels, and then Bush let's go against the troops, and it was always like outrage. We've seen it before, but sometimes outrage is like on a certain issue. Iraq war outrage, not right wing is all racist outrage, or liberals are all like socialist, communist, anarcho capitalist, whatever outrage. It wasn't this. The other side had good guys at one point. Now the other side is you're the total enemy.
Yeah. I mean, I can speak to the origins of that, at least like in. I could speak a little bit more about that if I go back into my college.
Go ahead. Talk about any story you would think of.
I think this might interest you. When I believe it was 2009, after the bombing of Israel's bombing of the Gaza Strip.
Yeah.
In 2009, I was in a class that at Evergreen State where people were. So the main subject of the class was colonization. And we had two professors. So how classes work at Evergreen is that you have a 16-credit program, and it combines a bunch of different subjects rather than taking several different smaller courses and receiving credits in those. Okay, so So this class was about the history of Western colonization of the Americas, and then also went into that in the Middle East and Africa. So
The Noam Chomsky class.
yeah, essentially. And it's really interesting right now because I am actually getting my second bachelor's in speech language pathology, and I'm studying Chomsky, but on a totally different subject because he's actually
He did a lot of stuff. Like, I can criticize Noam Chomsky's work on like foreign like.
Yeah.
Not now. You could keep your story, but you're not the total bad guys. Okay, just
Sorry. It's just interesting. I could talk about him on language as well, and my criticisms of that. But anyways, so we had a discussion about essentially pacifism versus reactionary violence to an attack. You know, these very extreme two positions. And this resulted in two Muslim women in the class getting in a fist fight with one another.
With each other?
With each other. They got up in the middle of class and got in a fist fight with one another. One of them was a Hezbollah Hamas supporter, and the other was a liberal pacifist. And they got in a fist fight with one another, and I just broke down. I was like, I can't take this anymore.
Yes.
I'm 19, and I can't handle this. And so that's kind of an example of the amount of extremism I saw at my college, where people would get in fistfights, and I'd never seen anything like this. This was my freshman year of college.
At least, guys who play identity politics, let's take this example because not all Muslims are on the same team, and not every group has the same political value. Like, people are individuals, guys. They can be split around. And Palestinians from the West Bank hate Palestinians from the Gaza Strip, but Hamas. Like, nobody even knows about it. Everyone like calls the word Palestinian, and me here who knows a lot of stuff, like, which did you mean again? Because if you're talking Hamas, fuck them, let's bomb the hell out of them. If you're talking West Bank, I'm totally with you. I'm against the settlements. Like, you have to specify who exactly are you talking about. This media catchphrases about Palestinian. And no, trust me, like, you need more detail to have an accurate position, at least have a discussion. So you saw that, and that colonization lecture or anything was, have you seen people like going too far to the Chomsky side, like, we're the bad guys, we're imperialists, we caused everything wrong, or self-hating white guilt syndrome? Have you seen this?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there's absolutely books and books and books of valid criticism. I studied the same subject for quarters. As in my freshman.
I have criticism of American foreign policy too, but I'm not convinced that you're the bad guys. There's still a difference. Like, I can criticize mistakes. I know things that happened in 2013, that's total mistake, which cost a lot of lives, that I don't even have convinced that Obama had malicious intent. Like, he fucked up real hard, but I still not convinced that he had malicious globalist intent. I don't
believe it's any wide conspiracy.
Yeah, the conspiracy.
There are
the conspiracies
result in murder. I mean, it's a big complex issue. But anyways, absolutely, like, we are the bad guys, and
Is there an overlap between people who think we're the bad guys and 9/11 truthers?
9/11 truthers.
La, because nobody even hit you. Like, we did it. Even it's whole conspiracy. Like, who gets, like, there is a certain level of white guilt, and there is, I've seen a level after it, like, total conspiracy theories.
Yeah, I hadn't considered that, but yeah.
Sorry, I interrupted you again.
No. So the whole, we are the bad guys, like, that sort of thing. It's definitely a huge part, at least in my experience, a lot of the political science, history, economy classes, in my experience at my college that I went to. And I felt like I was less being taught the basics of those and more. This is my perspective as a professor on this subject. That was my experience, and those experiences are valid, but I also feel that I wasn't exposed to a lot of others. For instance, a little bit later, I was observing a class, this was 2009, on Venezuela. And I don't know how much you've been following the Venezuela.
I've been following it a lot, but I will give another guess. Everybody on the left on your class was loving socialism in Venezuela, not knowing what socialism will bring to Venezuela, right?
Yeah. So this class, this was 2009, was entirely pro-Venezuela without almost...
As in Chavez is a good guy?
As in Chavez is a good guy.
What the fuck? What the fuck?
I mean, as the years came on, this was becoming more and more obvious.
Oh. Ashley, stop. Ashley, question, please. Question. How the hell? Okay. First of all, I don't even know where to start. Like, I will get on Chavez later, but why is it suddenly okay to anybody on the left or in liberal schools or whatever to be like hammer and sickle all the way? Why is the hammer and sickle okay, but the swastika is wrong? Like, when did suddenly like socialism and communism be this awesome thing? Like, the hammer and sickle will cause human suffering way more than... Is it like, don't people like know history, or they shift the blame? Oh, it wasn't communism, it was Stalinism. That's a problem. Like, they do this, right? No, but no country has ever done communism right.
Well, yeah.
How many examples do they have to?
And
go ahead. Talk about this. Communism
no worries. But I actually came from that background ideologically when I was a teenager, and then my freshman year at college, I was that far left and totally drank that Kool-Aid.
You drank the Kool-Aid because like ideas about communism alone, or you just didn't read more history about what happened in the satellite state, what happened in the Balkan states, what happened under communism on the Soviet Union from the 60s to the 80s? Like, that history is alone.
Well, I can tell you that at least, in high school, and definitely I did in college, we didn't learn almost anything about the Balkan states, not even all that much about the Cold War.
What?
Yeah, this was, mid-late 2000s. So, yeah, it kind of took my own. And
I was asking you, in your mental state when you were that far left, did you like look at communism as just an idea, like just read Marx Communist Manifesto and hey, he got some good points, but not actually looking at the actual results here? There is an actual view of communism, like the road to hell is paved with good intentions, if you know what I mean. Like, so at least that. So maybe like, okay, we didn't try it or something. But
no, that's absolutely what I've heard. And the reason I became involved in this is because I was involved in the anti-war movement at the time. Yes, the Iraq and Afghanistan war. So I'm a little embarrassed to admit that bit of history about myself.
Ashley, you're talking to someone who was a Salafi before, so don't be embarrassed.
Yeah, so we can all come from our histories to be able to explain it. But yeah, I mean, it was really exposure to this stuff in college that got me thinking, there is no critical thinking going on here. There's no references to the past. There's none of this. And I'm not saying everybody that I went to class with agreed with it, but there was a lot of quiet acceptance, or just not people speaking out, because there's a lot of rage culture in.
But why not speak out? Like, everybody should talk their mind. Are they like in the closet capitalists or something?
Well, I mean, I'm not even sure if it was like closet capitalism, and I wouldn't say I'm the most like, I'm not an ANCAP libertarian by any means. Like,
neither am I, but I mean, like, okay, at least like people who always like there's a level. Don't shit on the free market that much. It has some good qualities or something like. But there should be exchange of ideas. And why are the professors? First of all, okay, there's young people who don't know much about the Cold War, about communism, but there's an actual academic in front of you who's 50 years old, who've been lived through this shit. Why is he talking communism? That's my question.
I don't have an explanation. Like at my school, these are very small classes. So you personally get to know the professors on a first name basis. And I mean, I went to May Day events. I went to all this stuff, and it wasn't, there wasn't the same level of violence and fear that there is now. And there are a lot of different reasons that has been occurring as opposed to 2009, 2010. But there's a reason I left a lot of this political activism, because it got so extreme and people advocating violence that I just...
You seen actual people advocating violence, saying like the level of Punch a Nazi is okay.
This was before Punch a Nazi was a meme.
Who was getting punched back then? Like the capitalist pig?
Sometimes it was...
The 1%, the 1%, right? The 1%, the evil 1%.
I mean, like, a lot of it was people at protests fighting people who were also protesting them, and
yeah, what was the argument before the racist white supremacist Nazi, before Punch a Nazi? What was the violence between who and who? Between like now it's between Antifa and white supremacists, but back then what was it between who and who?
I mean, Antifa still existed back then. Just they didn't.
Seriously, why didn't no one hear about it? Like I've read about Antifa only recently. Like I know about Black Bloc Europe's Antifa I know about, but America's Antifa suddenly started in 2016. No one heard before about America's Antifa or America's communists.
Yeah.
Ever. Like it was a Europe-specific thing.
Mm-hmm. It was mostly in Europe when you heard about it, but there were very small Antifa groups in America. And I mean, they're at the college campuses. You have, the anarchists all in black at the marches and at the protests. And I could tell you that in 2008, 2009, I'm not sure if you know about this. This was a local thing. There was Prop 8 in California, which
about Prop 8,
was about same-sex marriage before it was passed in the States. And it was basically it was against same-sex marriage. And so I helped with a bunch of other people to organize a march against it in the local downtown. And it was just a bunch of students, and we were marching, in support of it, toward, a talk about it. And there were a lot of people in support there, and of course the anarchists come with all their faces covered, and they march with us, but then go into the streets and block traffic. And then a bunch of just normal people, the average normal people, will get upset at us. When I was like, no.
That's why you should have a disassociation from Antifa, anarchist, or anyone who advocates violence. There should be a split. Here is a point that you might think is weird. When the term alt-left was spoken by Trump, everybody attacked Trump as like there is no such thing as alt-left, the liberals. But in my opinion, naming something as the alt-left is extremely useful to the left and the liberals, at least to disassociate themselves from Antifa or anyone causing violence. Like, have you noticed that the right wing has an easier way to disassociate themselves from white supremacist Nazis, alt-right, because it's called alt-right, it's called something, so they can say we're conservatives, we don't give a fuck about these guys are assholes. But there is no such term on the left that all liberals can say, okay, we're liberals, but these guys are assholes. So they should have adopted the term alt-left and disassociated themselves instantly from these guys. Like, don't stop like saying there is no such thing as the alt-left is the right move, in my opinion.
Well, I think that the difference in terms, and you might have heard this, is that alt-right was just a term uttered by Trump, who doesn't have
I know
any political understanding of anything.
Like in
smallest
his
party
mind,
in
you're
the
saying
world.
alt right. What about alt left? Left,
But
right.
yeah,
That's about it.
well, the alt-right is, a term that was defined by those people who identify as that. I think that's a pretty strong term, but we don't have a universal term on the left, as you've mentioned, and I doubt anybody will be willing to adapt the alt-left because it was termed by the right wing. It was a term created by Trump and the right wing. And
Yeah,
that's
yeah, I
what
know.
I took on, and I know that this term has been kind of twisted, regressive left. I liked the original term as it was described when I listened to Majinawa's talk on the Rubin Report
Yeah, yeah. Imagine now
years
has
ago.
made the split way good, like regressive left or control left.
Yes, yeah, control.
And he writes it on
Yeah,
Twitter like control, like the control in the keyboard left,
yeah,
and alt right. So it's like
mhm.
okay, control left, alt right. I know these guys.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, absolutely.
all I cared about is like disassociating liberals and liberal values from extreme violent identity politics, everything else. That's I wanted this association to happen because people should start moving from this extreme closer
Mhm.
to the middle. And so, people like you, like how many people like you have been like, okay, this have gone far too long, like I
Yeah,
am out of this, like uh, people bouncing at least center left. Have you seen a lot of like that moment? Okay, I'm dropping all the progressive extreme bullshit.
I actually haven't seen a lot of that. I
Uh,
really haven't. I think that there's
we need to like see what happened to your brain, Ashley, and copy paste what have you seen and what happened to your brain to like everyone on the extreme left. Like you copy paste your experience or something. Like we need Jesus.
we'll need years of people seeing people getting in fistfights in class and people talking about how wonderful Chavez is for years before they might start listening.
I'm still not over that Chavez is awesome thing. What
Yeah,
I don't.
I don't know about those same people now because this was years ago. I mean, years and years ago. Um, I'm not sure about what those people think now, or the professors even.
There may be either more extreme left or they have moved to the middle. And by the way, I've seen another like dangerous thing of people, younger people, just fed up with the left to the point that jumping all the way to the right. Like, okay,
Yes, yes,
you keep saying I'm a racist, I'm a bigot, and he as a human being had no like racist anything in his body. But okay, I'm pro free speech to the point that I'm gonna post like all Pepe frogs to anti-Semitism. Like, okay, people, there is such a thing as there's a weird effect if you tell people constantly you're this, you can say this, you can say this, they will say this like as a rebellious. They're not really right wing, but they're rebellious. They're rebellious
yeah,
against the left. So we're gonna see what exactly pisses off the left, and we're gonna keep on doing it.
yeah. I think your
Gamers,
description of the teenager that left the
gamers, I'm
barking
with.
frogs is pretty accurate because I've definitely seen that. I think that a lack of, it sounds really strange that we need to kind of classify ourselves into these terms in order to feel comfortable with how we identify politically, and it doesn't seem that where at least I personally lie, except on an economic and social political
Yeah,
level,
yeah.
like social democrat, there's not really a comfortable place. And I think center left, at least in America, people are associate that with corporate Democrats.
No, no, no. Establishment Democrats, like
Yeah, establishment
everyone.
corporate Democrats who kind of sell out people, you know,
Sell
and
out people and terrible foreign policy. By the way, I'm in the Middle East.
terrible foreign policy, and that's what a lot of people associate center left with. And
Oh no, that sucks.
yeah, and no one really wants to be that. I don't want to be that for sure.
So
And
I mean, this goes to the point that we should all be individualist and let's judge each other by who are you and what is your views on each
yeah,
and every topic. Like this constant, who are you? You're left or right, so I'm gonna assume all your views
yeah,
non-stop. Like I had a lot of conversations out of nowhere. Like sometimes my views are complicated because it's based
yeah,
on specific situational moral values. Like in that situation, yes, but in that I can say blanketly any anti-Muslim bigotry is this. I can't say according to who you are or where you are. Like someone like Tommy Robinson to the extreme attacking Islam on the UK is needed, but someone like him in California, I would call people to stop what he's saying, because there's an actual threat from Islamists in the UK, and there is not much an actual threat from Islamist terrorists in California. So
No.
I can say this. Yeah, I can't say this blanket statement. I am against someone saying this, because in certain situations it might be needed. And this thing about detail in your views, like I was last week, I was talking to an American friend, and also out of nowhere, he was saying, and of course, all of us are here are pro-choice, and. So I asked him right away, why did you assume I'm pro-choice? And he instantly went to, holy shit, you're pro-life, sexist. And my point about telling him I'm not always pro-choice had nothing to do with pro-life, had to do about views I have over here, that I am sometimes pro-abortion. There's like I'm the extreme. Like sometimes when if there is an extremely poor couple with no place to stay, with no future, they're either renting a room or like extremely poor with no social net whatsoever, I am against the idea of them bringing another human being to suffer in that situation. And I'm to the level of I'm pro-abortion. I know that view is extreme and you shouldn't tell people to have children or not, I know, but my point about this example is like he instantly assumed like, oh, the pro-lifer, blah 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 blah. There is a script written already for every view as your whole character. If you think one thing against weed, pro-weed, against this, there is another association of another totally different views that comes along with it, which people might have mixed views. I can be socially to the left, but fiscally conservative.
Yeah, which here we would call libertarian in America.
Yeah, libertarian.
Yeah, and I feel like even in very, very small issues that have nothing to do with religion or social freedoms, I find myself at ends with a lot of other people on the left, and that could be like I am probably the most pro-GMO person you'll ever meet, and most people I know on the left are very afraid of that because there's not a lot of knowledge on. A lot of people don't have knowledge on that.
There's not a lot of knowledge to the point that I'm gonna tell you, spend 2-3 minutes about explain it.
Like GMO stuff?
Yeah, basics. I know, I know, but trust me, like people don't know.
Oh yeah, well, in America and in Europe too, there's a lot of fear mongering about genetically modified organisms, and basically what it comes down to is a total lack of understanding of what a transgenic organism is, what the science is behind it, and if it's safe or not. And it is absolutely, the scientific consensus is that it's safe. The scientific consensus is just about as strong as the scientific consensus for global warming. The question is, that sort of thing. And I'm of the belief that, GMOs and all that could be used in countries that are poor, that need it.
Exactly my point.
Yeah, like to be able to fight against environment.
I asked you about this because I noticed a lot of anti-science coming from the left.
Yeah.
Which is weird. Like they're always saying this weird. Republicans, climate change deniers, where's the party of the facts? Where's the party of this? And suddenly out of nowhere I see anti-vaxxers from the left.
Mm-hmm. And there are anti-vaxxers on the left and the right, and in the center and the libertarian, and they all have different reasons. And I am the most absolutely pro-vax.
Oh, of course, any sane person. Okay, let me tell you my opinion about all the conspiracy theories about Big Pharma and Vax from someone in the Middle East. Whenever I see people like this so ungrateful to science and medicine, I'm always like, okay, you're so pissed at Big Pharma. Big Pharma is taking your money. Oh, please bring Big Pharma here. We want Big Pharma. Like, we're missing some critical medicine. We're missing some critical vaccinations for Hep C. We're missing some critical stuff. And you guys over there who have it, no, 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 no. Conspiracy theories. Big Pharma wants to take our money. And vaccination causes autism. And fucking kidding me? We're missing it. We want it and we can't get it. There is no such thing as conspiracy theories against Big Pharma here in the Middle East.
Yeah.
We're dying for it. Like, Doctors Without Borders bring the stuff and we take it. What the fuck are these guys like? They piss me off so much. They're so ungrateful to science. They're so ungrateful. They have no idea how precious this opportunity of vaccination is. Not everyone in the world has it. Have you seen what's happening in Africa? What the fuck?
I have to know that. Do you mind if I run to the bathroom real quickly?
Yeah, go.
Okay, I'll be right back.
I will keep talking about stuff. Go, take your time.
Okay, keep talking, everybody.
I will talk about the vaccinations. Like, holy shit, and they're always like, oh, the Republicans are the ones who are anti-science. And suddenly, out of nowhere, there is more than two genders. Big Pharma. Anti-vax. What else from the alternative medicine? There's a lot of alternative medicine bullshit pseudoscience from the left too. Like, they're always the hippie kind of all natural. And that's weird because they always keep saying the right-wingers, total idiots. And I've met right-wingers. They're not all total idiots, guys. Like, I'm in a group with conservatives. They're not all total idiots.
Okay, I'm back.
Yeah. I was talking about, like, the left always saying we're the science party, and a lot of pseudoscience alternative medicine shit is coming from there.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Yeah. What's up with anti-corporation to the point of anti-science now? Like, corporations do, like, you know what I can understand. Okay, Pfizer is doing this and they're raising the cost of pills and medication, but I can't understand Pfizer is doing this and their medication doesn't work anyway. What? It works. There might be corporate assholes, but their shit works.
Yeah. So I have a lot of opinions on that. So yeah, I'm absolutely critical of
talk about science from the left.
Yeah, I'm absolutely critical of the cost and lack of accessibility for people to get these medicines in the States, at least. That's what I know about. But to deny the fact that vaccinations and medications work is so harmful, not to just, yourself. If you're like, well, I choose not to vaccinate my children, you're leaving all the other children in the school, all the other people in the community susceptible to these really horrible diseases. Or even just refusing to take a medication because you would rather have a watered down homeopathic medication is just going to harm you. And I also say that because I am an immunocompromised person, and so I get really
you understand the importance of everything, like.
Yeah, and I've spoken to my doctors that just going into Portland is as dangerous as going to California, where we're having breakouts of measles and other diseases that we thought we eradicated because of vaccinations. And
how far has anti-vax gone to the point of parents genuinely believing them? Is it like a small fringe of like 100 parents who are idiots, or is it having an actual effect on a whole community not vaccinating their children?
I don't know the numbers, but it definitely depends.
Yeah, I'm not talking numbers. I'm thinking I'm asking more of, are people critical thinkers enough, or they Google shit enough for them to understand, or because in my opinion, like, how is this anti-vax shit even working on people?
I know, I absolutely know. And I am not really certain, because I know people who I was friends with growing up with since elementary school, middle school, high school, college, who buy into this. And I have argued with them. I have debated with them, and I know people who will not vaccinate their children, people who would rather go to a chiropractor than a real doctor, people who would rather get acupuncture than take medication that will actually help them.
What is up with this hippie nature shit? Acupuncture and chiropractors are like, why? And it's going. Okay, is it like because it sounds cool and spiritual, or is it like nature? I am all natural, or what the fuck is the main cause?
I don't know. It might be like the appeal to nature fallacy. I have no idea of the origin of it, but there definitely is a strong appeal to that.
Yeah,
here,
because
on the left, on the right as well.
Yeah, it's probably. Am I wrong to say that the anti-vax or alternative medicine shit is coming from the left?
Yeah, it is on the right as well.
Okay,
I mean,
because I've seen it. I've seen shit on Bill Maher. Even Bill Maher himself is going on. We're having too much pills. We're taking too much pills because if someone was natural, he would have a strong immune system. What the fuck, Bill Maher? You're supposed to be the science atheist. What the hell are you talking about? Do you know your shit? Where did you get your certificate in anti-immune diseases, autoimmune diseases exactly? Like what the fuck?
You're not a rheumatologist.
Yeah, I mean, so I saw it. I just saw it from the left and from atheists from the left. Whenever I talk anti-science coming from the right, it's worse because it's creationists. It's like like it's extreme. Like I'm actually going to a point that okay, at least the left, one of the most important things that remains on the left is the issue of climate change. At least. Yeah. So I criticize the left on those things which still appear, but I totally understand that overall, anti-science wise, if we're gonna put creationists in the mix, the right wins. I know.
Yes, yeah.
But on those stuff, it was weird.
But us on the left, we still have our problems, and I think science denialism, at least from what I know in America, because that's all I know, it's all one place I've lived. Science denialism is a huge problem, and that might have to come. That might come from our education system. I'm not sure, because I even remember in middle school and high school, science teachers stepping around talking biology in order to not hurt creationist feelings.
What?
Yeah. And I'm from Washington State.
We have to drop the feelings. We have to drop the feelings when we're in class. In class and in college, people just drop your feelings. We need to like important shit is going on. This feelings argument and what does the teacher fear exactly? Backlash from students? Fuck them. I mean, not fuck them, but I mean, like you know what I mean. Like what's the worst that could happen? If a professor has tenure and he can say whatever the hell he wants, right?
Yeah.
Why is he backing down in front of students?
I'm not sure. And these are I didn't take a biology class at my college. I'm taking science classes now at my current university. And there's nothing like that happening because it's all online. It's a state college, but it's all online.
Yeah.
So I don't have to deal with that sort of thing that I dealt with.
Much coming when it comes to biology, it's coming from either the younger, and if I'm gonna talk is stupid shit coming from the left, I'm gonna talk about like the social justice new thing of the X and Y chromosome are social constructs. Like that's we've seen like the people talking about gender in ways that totally not scientific, just for the sake of not hurting feelings too.
We
don't want to get into that because it's a touchy subject. I know.
Yeah, because I mean, like I have been an advocate for trans folks, and I have a lot of trans people in my life. So
me too. I'm just saying there's such a thing as biology. That's about it.
Yeah, there's a difference between biological sex, intersex, and gender. There's differences between all of those, and I think people use their terms.
I know, but what I'm saying is when I repeat your exact statement, I sometimes hear some like critical theory or postmodernism, whatever the fuck unscientific shit, that even science itself is a social construct. You know what I mean? Like it have been gone to that far. Like what? And to the point that there was an article somewhere on what was it called? I forgot the site, but it was like that science is made by cis white men. Oh really? Science now? We're gonna take down science because it's made by men? What? That
Which
shit.
is absolutely denying that women and not white people have contributed to it. So
yes, that's worse. Exactly. Like what happened to Marie Curie? Like yeah, that's the opposite of feminism. You should point to a female scientist, not say, "Oh, science is made by white men." And what the fuck is up with white? Like science, even like okay, this has gone insane. But I know it's not that far, of course, in colleges, and I've seen it in crazy people on Twitter. This is not mainstream. Like if we're gonna talk something that's dangerous and going mainstream, it's still the anti-vax or the climate change deniers on the right. That's the important issues. And in the important issues, the left wins. Even though Ashley, there is a lot of use by the left, climate change science-wise, to be more specific as a political gain, not just actually caring. What I'm saying is they're always going after fossils and oil companies and everything. Like there's the main point. Nobody's talking about cow farts and industrial farming. Like global warming, global warming is caused by a lot of shit. But even people from the left who praise science always be specific. Oil companies, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest contributions is animal agriculture. And
nobody's talking about it like
yeah, nobody's really talking about it. And I mean, one of the things another thing that I kind of butt heads with other people on the left is that while there are a lot of problems, I'm pretty pro nuclear power because it doesn't.
I was gonna say this. But I wish people should like drop that, because okay, let me say this. The idea, if you do the math, the idea that solar and wind can totally replace the entire energy consumption of America is insane, and the math doesn't work. It's like 2%. We can replace 2%, but if we put money making nuclear safe and a way to
safe nuclear,
make nuclear safe again, or not again, it was never safe
because it doesn't. It doesn't contribute to climate change.
Doesn't at all. If nuclear is extremely dangerous if it goes wrong, but if it goes right, it solves everything.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why
solves everything. The mess continues. Like it can totally replace fossils from the entire world, just 2 nuclear plants, and it has nothing on global warming.
Yeah,
I've read a lot of stuff, but it's so delicate, Ashley, to the point that I was reading, like, if 0.1301 Celsius changes in a uranium compartment, everything goes wrong. Like, it's so delicate to the point, but it does solve global warming. So when we talk nuclear, as in a nuclear power plant, that nuclear power plant has the power to save the world, but has also the power to fuck this point in particular. If you know, like this point is done. Like, but it will.
I really do think we need more research into it. I mean, as I said, I'm not an expert on it, but I think it's something worth exploring.
I'm not an expert either. But when they keep talking about it's not safe, it's delicate, I think it's a less of an imagination of the human spirit, of the human science. Like, we can do it, guys. Why are we having such a low expectation from humanity? Like, we can make nuclear safe. It has to be done. I'm not an expert either, but this view that three times it went wrong. Chernobyl, Trinity Island, not Trinity Island. I forgot what it's called. Something Island, and Japan.
Yeah, and that happened because of a natural disaster.
That happened because of not a human error. There hasn't been a human error since Chernobyl. Not once.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of fail safes now. But my thing is, when people talk green, they're not looking at the numbers of what green will replace. It won't replace that much. We need something more powerful to replace all this. And my opinion was always nuclear, like you now. I said it before. So yeah, Good, Ashley. We're gonna solve it with nuclear. Make nuclear.
Okay, we're going to solve it with nuclear power. And I can definitely say right now that because climate change is even happening in the Pacific Northwest, we are having insane wildfires, and I keep having to blow my nose because the entire Northwest is on fire right now. And that's
And the global.
huh?
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say that the Northwest is on fire because it's too hot and too dry, and it's usually wet and cold here.
Let me tell you that the Middle East is too hot too.
Yeah.
We've seen over the last 3 years some pretty insane summers. And the first summer, I didn't get AC in my apartment yet. It was awesome. So yeah, global warming is a major issue. And one more thing I'm gonna say before we drop global warming and move to something else. Or
Yeah,
finish
so yeah, I
the
realized we kind of deviated.
yeah. I had no idea we're gonna talk about nuclear energy. Let's talk about the regressive left. Nuclear energy solves all.
Nuclear energy will solve the world's problems. Yeah.
There is a moral paradox I'm always faced with when America pushes either fracking more fossil oil from Alaska or anything that's wrong for the environment.
Yeah.
It has one good effect in the geopolitics. And I'm not advocating for this. I'm just saying it. It has one good point. The good point is making it less dependent on Saudi Arabia. And now we can, okay, fuck you, Saudi Arabia. We're not gonna stand up for your shit. Human rights abuses all the way. We're not gonna defend you anymore. That is actually needed. Like I'm in a position like, okay, if oil is gonna be taken anyway from Saudi Arabia or from the United States, and the environment will be hit the same amount, take it from the United States and stop depending on Saudi Arabia. Like, take whatever you have now.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Yeah,
it's the same. Like the the effect on the planet is mathematically the same, but we because America cares more about the environment than China and Saudi Arabia, they're not doing the things that other countries do. And my position sometimes is, if it's gonna get done anyway, and of course any environmental activist will hate me for this, if it's gonna get done anyway, fuck it, we do it and we get stronger and less dependent on Saudi Arabia. That was an opinion of mine, but it was uttered once by someone none of us should agree with. It was uttered by Sarah Palin. Frack it, baby, frack it. So I found myself agreeing with Sarah Palin. Doesn't that give you like a hope for the political divide?
If we could, the less investment we could have in Saudi Arabia, the better, because no one here ever seems to be standing up against them, and they're some of the most inhumane abuses occurring.
Yeah, inhumane on their own people, and over the last few months, inhumane shit in Yemen, and no media is ever even talking about Yemen.
No one is talking about that. Even I don't really know that much about it, except Saudi Arabia is fucking over Yemen.
Yeah, you would be amazed about the fact that our aid and the Doctors Without Borders aid is 10 kilometers away from people dying from malnutrition, and Saudi Arabia fucking blocked it 2 weeks ago. It's not allowing people to go in and help. That alone is a fact enough to fuck Saudi Arabia all the way. Like, that enough is like, when there is already aid ready, not even, guys, let's make charity to collect money. It's there. It's 10 kilometers away.
Yeah.
What the fuck? And their whole thing is, you guys in that village and in that city supported the Houthis and didn't support us. So fuck you. How fucked up you have to be to do shit like that? Seriously.
Yeah.
Like, what the fucking fuck? And everybody, and Saudi Arabia is now in the Council for Human Rights.
Yep, Council of Human Rights, yep.
What the fuck? What the fuck? So, Ashley, ending statement about about the political divide. Let's talk hope. Let's talk something hopeful. And tell me things we can tell the left. Like, have a message to the left and have a message to the right.
Message to the left and message to the right?
I mean, like to people you once knew like if I'm gonna talk to people from from the regressive left, I need to either show them that align yourself with Islam is the they're more conservative than Christian conservatives. You need to take care of that. Identity politics will even people on the right love you if when you play identity politics because you're falling and it's isn't it obvious, Ashley? Haven't people on the left just stopped and said we lost the election, there's something wrong with us? Have they even have self uh, reflection?
I've seen it in some people. I'm not sure about. I don't keep up too much with the mainstream.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
But there's absolutely criticism, at least in my more local circles, talking about what went wrong. And a lot went wrong.
What happened? Hillary Clinton.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
The answer is there in the book. What happened? Hillary Clinton. The answer.
Yeah.
You don't need to read the book.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I would definitely say, I think my message to people from, no one identifies as, yes, I am regressive left. No one is going to identify that.
Yeah, they call themselves liberal.
Yeah. But, to people who are my friends, people who are on the left, I would definitely say to listen to the people who have experienced experienced depression in other countries, experienced violence, experienced war, experienced these things.
Check.
Yeah, actually talk and listen to the people, and whether or not that their answer makes you comfortable, listen to it and consider it. I mean, that's how I changed my mind so intense, is that, I mean, I listened to ex-Muslims and their experiences in their countries and their families growing up Wahhabis, Salafi, and
see, we're helping America, guys.
So just listen, and then take, and really recognize that not everybody's going to fall into a similar ideological group, and that's okay. And it's okay to feel uncomfortable.
We don't have to agree on everything. What is up with perfection? There's a need for perfection. We don't have to agree on everything. Someone can be wrong on something, and that's a term that should be used even when they're talking to conservatives. They should say you're wrong, not you're an enemy or you're evil with a capital E. Some people can be wrong. You know what I mean? Like, wrong doesn't mean evil. That's major point. And if I'm gonna talk like to the people on the left who are going either identity politics or Noam Chomsky or anti-free speech, I just want to tell them, like, you should be so grateful and cherish the First Amendment to the point you wouldn't believe, because the life sucks without it. Life sucks without it. That some things I even can say here can get me in prison. Life sucks without it to the point that there has to be religion in politics and courts based on Sharia religious teachings. Life sucks without it because there is no free press. Press is state-run media. Yeah. And the idea that you would sacrifice your First Amendment for the sake of some feelings and hate speech, whatever it's coming from, even if it's whoever the hell, even if it's Robert Spencer or whatever, is insane to me, to the point that I don't think you guys really know what you have. Like, you don't appreciate it. You haven't fought for it. Like, you were born with First Amendment. Yeah, First Amendment, whatever. No, not whatever. Congress shall make no law concerning the religion or a practice of thereof. Like, I want to say it again out loud. It's so important. It's one of the most important human ideas ever written. And the fact that people just don't know the gift of this. And by the way, I've seen this, like, they're not even proud of it as proud Americans. There's a lot of self-doubt and self-hate to the point that, no, you should be proud to be an American. Like, not only, like, I can criticize foreign policy to all I want, but there's a point where you have to admit we did some good shit. We Western values did some objectively did good shit. Like I don't want to fall into cultural relativism to the point that maybe other cultures are no 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 no. You can look at the numbers. You can look at science, medicine, life expectancy, everything. You did that. Be proud of it, and that's the whole point. I am sick, Ashley, of this idea that liberals, some people on the left, who I agree with socially, are so self-doubt and wishy-washy about
Yeah.
even America itself. And meanwhile, some people on the right are fucking proud Americans, America. You know what I mean? Like, I want that pride as defending America to exist on the left. Like, sometimes I know
Yeah.
you won't like this, but sometimes I even respect people on the right who have self-confidence more than people on the left. At least that, like, Ben Shapiro can kick ass and he knows what he's talking about. You know what I mean? Yeah,
Yeah.
this is not an argument that I agree with Ben Shapiro, but you know what I mean, right? Like
Yeah.
this, no bullshit, no tolerance. I'm saying this, and that's my opinion. Done. I don't see that from the left. Nobody's
Yeah.
even like proud of their opinion. Like everything, my your own experience, your own experience. What the fuck, own experience? So yeah, that's pissed me off, and people on the left are the ones who should be proud of
Yeah.
America, of the civil rights movement, of First Amendment, of everything, not the right.
Yeah, I agree. And
Yeah.
it is interesting when you see, down the street, you see someone with an American flag on the top of their truck. You don't, where they lie politically. And
Why
so
is that? Why is someone with an American flag assumed to be right wing?
Exactly. And so I'm like, why is it that we associate the flag of our country to fall into somewhere on the political spectrum? Why?
Okay, let's talk about this. I'm not gonna end the stream. I want to talk about this because this is weird. Yeah. There is such a thing I've seen that patriotism itself is a bad racist thing now. America first, America. No, that's bad. Borders are bad. Or all humans. That way of thinking is fucking stupid, in my opinion. Like, what?
I feel that.
Listen, Egypt first. Egypt first, guys. I want the best for Egypt. Am I like racist? I don't.
I'm just kidding.
Tell me why people on the left are now like when you say we're going down the street, we see an American flag, we assume right wing. We see a hammer and sickle, we assume left wing. What the fuck happened?
I'm not really quite sure of the origin of that, but I have been strongly feeling that since the election. Like, why don't we on the left grab that and say, well, that's ours too? And I haven't seen much of. It seems more like it was self-proclaimed, like the right kind of took it. And I'm not saying
your country. What do you mean took it?
I know, and I realized that coming out of my mouth sounds so stupid.
Yeah, it's weird.
I'm not really quite sure.
Okay. So, what do you think of this idea that patriotism is racist?
Well, gosh, that is complicated. Well, especially, I'm
not saying nationalism, by the way. I'm not saying nationalists. Okay,
well,
let's clarify.
Has been used. Well, the word patriotism has especially been used since like the Iraq War. That if you disagreed with it, you were against America. You were anti-patriotism. You were not a patriot. I mean, I remember
the people who were opposing
freedom fries. Like, I remember that happening in school because the French wouldn't support the war. It's just stupid stuff, and it doesn't really come down to supporting your country and the people in it.
Yeah, but in my opinion, someone from the outside, as someone from the outside, Ashley, the people opposing the Iraq War are the real patriots who think what's best for America. Like, that verb has gone, like, it's just like liberal has been ruined here
Yeah.
Probably patriots are now only right wing and don't care. And this, mm, I don't even want to call it multiculturalism, moral relativism, or anything, but there is a
Yeah.
sense that there is no such thing as American. We're all human. We're all, except the Russians, of course. The left hates the Russians now. Like, oh, we're all human. We're all equal, but fuck the Russians. Jesus. Well, we'll get started on the Russians again. But that has nothing to do with you making things good where you live. Like, I'm not a nationalist. I'm not even gonna be call myself a patriot. But if I want the best for Egypt, because I live here,
You're right, absolutely.
because I want, yeah, I want this to be better. I want this to be better because my life would be better. And if we all thought that way, that's progress. That doesn't mean I'm a nationalist. That doesn't mean even that I'm willing to die for any. Like, there's such a thing as we're proud to be here and we did some good stuff. And by the way, doing things either historically or now that you're proud of can get people motivational or looking forward to good. Americans did good things like landing on the moon, did this, did that. That's things that have actual consequences, good consequences on the youth. It's not that evil or anything like that's weird. And I always think of things I care about in Egypt, Libya, and Syria. Like, as I said, I was opposing the Obama foreign policy for reasons would take an hour to explain.
Yeah.
But and I was opposing Hillary Clinton because it would be even more unhinged than Obama, and she's more hawkish, and she would support the same things that she did as Secretary of State by supporting Islamists in the Middle East. So when she's supporting people who want to kill me, okay, she's an enemy. I don't even care. Like, this is beyond politics right now. We're forget left wing, forget right wing. There is weapons and aid going to what Obama calls moderate rebels, what we call Jabhat al-Nusra. So fuck it. This is like, you're doing shit that's killing people, that's boiling up a war that should have ended 3 years ago, and that's like, we're talking human lives. When it comes to morality, human lives is above everything. So even that's what pisses me off when I talk shit about Hillary and suddenly thrown to the right wing Trump supporter. I don't give a shit. Like, in the primary, I wanted Bernie to win.
Yeah.
Like, how am I right wing if I want a socialist to win? Exactly.
Right.
So, and by the way, if Bernie won, I wouldn't give a shit who's the president of the United States. All I cared about, not fucking Hillary. Anyone, I swear, anyone, run for anyone, not Hillary. That's and that's like, I was saying this to say that that's because I care about things over here. Supporting Muslim Brotherhood, supporting Jabhat al-Nusra, supporting Gish Fath al-Sham, that's bullshit and way dangerous. The idea, and by the way, Ashley, if we're gonna talk about the election for a few minutes, if you're free.
Sure.
Like, I was so amazed that some things of what Hillary's saying doesn't go viral as immoral, outrageous things when it comes to foreign policy, and everyone is focusing about sound bites coming from Trump. But if you're gonna ask me honestly, as a moral entity, the idea that Hillary Clinton was sitting on a chair and she got the news that Gaddafi is dead and the entire Libyan state have fallen, and she started laughing this hysterical laugh, saying, "We came, we did, and he died," with her fucking psychotic laugh. That, if you're gonna seriously compare morally, that video with even such a thing as grab them by the pussy, how can anybody look at this too and be morally outraged at grab them by the pussy? I'm not defending grab them by pussy, please.
Yeah.
And
that's I didn't even see that video that you're talking about, but that is a very valid.
Have you seen that video?
No,
Have you seen that video of Hillary? Seriously? No. She was sitting down. That pissed me off so much. She was laughing at the collapse of an entire state while ISIS is in the border and the Libya would be split into 4 for life. How is this hysterical,
Moral.
like a comedy moral to you. What the fuck was that? And
Yeah.
let's be clear. This idea of l- l- she's laughing at the fall of Libya and the death of Gaddafi. We bombed his parade and people got him, like killed him. That's not even a thing you should be like like it's not. It's fucking serious. It's fucking serious. Like here's the thing. If I was a Libyan, of course I would be like going crazy, and I have a few friends. Like this shit is like not is it goes beyond hashtag Benghazi and the embassy. It's an entire country. Okay, that's one. Two. Now we have ISIS not only in Sinai. We have ISIS on Libya because Libya is unstable. Like there's consequences of your fucking actions. Like
The power
how the
vacuum
hell?
gets filled by
It
someone.
always I hate the idea of we need to get rid of this guy. What and what next? Nothing. No plan.
Yeah.
We need to get rid
mean,
of
that was
regime
not-
change. Regime change. We need to spread freedom and democracy, and explain what you're gonna do afterwards. Okay, and that's the insane thing, because if you're gonna like, here's the difference between the neocons and the liberal or the democratic establishment foreign policy. The neocons, when they go all the way, it's like an invasion. But when of course the Obama administration hates the idea of boots on the ground. Boots on the ground is not acceptable. So we're gonna hit, and leave the vacuum. That's
Yeah.
in a way have caused more casualties and more shit than having actual troops on the ground to maintain your shit. Either not get involved at all, either not get involved, either total non-interventionist, or full-on way neocon mode. One of those two. The middle ground is always worse. The middle ground is disastrous. Like, at least there was actual Al-Qaeda in Iraq that the American troops in Iraq fought, and good for them. But imagine if there was the Obama way of hitting Saddam and we're done. Iraq would be ISIS in the next day. Like ISIS came because of the vacuum in Syria and the vacuum in Iraq. And I'm not blaming the vacuum in Syria on America. The vacuum in Syria is because of Bashar. No, totally Bashar. The vacuum in Iraq, at least, is because of America and al-Malki. They left the most idiotic Iraqi PM of all time in charge. Al-Malki is the paranoid idiot. So that my point of all this, if I wanted to say that if you're on the 9th of November and you have those two candidates in front of you, if I'm gonna ask an objective question, who of those two caused more human suffering on this planet? And your answer is Trump, then you're either lying or ignorant or insane. And that's my opinion. I don't care if I'm alt-right racist kida. I was glad that Trump win. I wish it was Bernie, but not Hillary fucking Clinton. Thank you so much. And done.
Yeah, I could go into who I voted for and why. I did not vote for Trump. And
Gary Johnson.
Huh?
Gary Johnson.
No.
Actually, what is Aleppo?
Huh?
What is Aleppo?
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. That whole thing was just a friggin' mess. I mean, I just focused on.
But he's a good guy, by the way. He's actually.
I can't handle the international. There seems to be no good options for that. But yeah, I voted for Bernie too. So, well,
Yeah.
not two. I did. So.
And in the general election, you voted for Hillary.
Yeah, I mean, what other choice did I have?
Yeah, I know. What other choice do you have? Except for like not voting or Jill Stein or something. I don't know.
Yeah, and I wouldn't want to vote for Jill Stein either, but I mean, just kind of going back to the.
It was the worst fucking election of all time. Oh, everybody
It was
said
awful.
it wasn't. Yeah,
It was
it was fucking awful. Yeah, I know.
It was just heartbreaking all the way around.
Well. But at least we, first of all, thank you so much, Ashley, for this conversation, and we're gonna talk again because I've noticed there's a lot of shit in common. Like we can talk science actually.
Okay.
Like I want to talk MGOs and alt medicine and pseudoscience getting in medicine and a lot of stuff. So thank you so much for doing this, and we're gonna talk again and make another episode later. And good luck, America, and please, like, people, just listen to each other and stop punching each other. Like, as I said, me and my next door neighbor fix the elevator. You can at least join hands to fix a country, and that's about it.
All right.
Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you.
Thank you, and goodbye, guys.